BBC Breakfast was being hosted this morning by Dan, 41, and Louise, 50, who were presenting a segment on chemistry lessons at school. However, Louise ended up making a mistake during the segment and Dan was quick to pounce on the moment. Now, the very mention of chemistry lessons conjures up memories of what, Bunsen burners? Began Dan. Louise then replied, "Definitely. For me, yes." Dan continued, "Experiments going wrong?" This was when Louise made a rather embarrassing gaffe in which she created a brand new word which Dan seemed to find rather amusing. "Abso. 100%, she said, and then looked over at Dan, who had a huge grin on his face after her mistake. Dan then laughed, and Louise corrected her mistake, saying, "Absolutely. What a lovely new phrase. I quite like that. Abso. 100%, Dan added. "Do you know what, you said Bunsen burners and I was like, I'm surprised I can't still see the burns on my hands," said Louise. Dan then tried to save the situation by bringing it back to the subject they were supposed to be discussing. "Well, there's also the periodic table." "How much can you remember?" asked Dan. "Very little, I'm afraid," replied Louise, and Dan began to show cards with elements from the periodic table on them and asked the crew members whether they knew which ones were which. Unfortunately, not many people knew then, and Dan just ended up going through most of them himself. However, Louise revealed that he was cheating because he had them written on the back of the cards. "It's easy because it says on the back," she revealed. This comes after Charlie State was left questioning his co-host Ben Thompson this morning, as the business reporter was conducting an outside broadcast from a whiskey distillery in Scotland. Crossing over to Ben, Charlie said, "Let's see what else is coming up this morning. Ben is Dumfries for us and talking about Brexit." "A lot of chat, Ben," Charlie continued before he realized Ben was unprepared. Charlie told the business reporter, "You seem to be having far too much fun there. Have I interrupted something?" The BBC Breakfast presenter inquired, before trying to carry on with his hand over to Ben. BBC Breakfast airs weekdays at 6 a.m. on BBC One.